Hello children, welcome to English grammar class. The topic which I have taken up today, that is active and passive voice. So without getting delayed, let's proceed. Let's start with active voice. In active voice, the subject is doing the action while the object is one receiving the action. Active voice is considered to be the normal form of the sentence. Most of the sentences that we make use this. It is also simpler compared to passive voice. It follows the pattern. Just have a look. Subject, that is doer of the action, plus verb plus object, that is receiver of the action. Let's understand it with one of the example. Harry ate a sandwich this morning. In this sentence, Harry is a subject, ate is an action word, that is verb, and sandwich is an object. In this sentence, the subject Harry is the doer of the action ate, while the object sandwich receives the action. Another example, Lillian washes the dishes after dinner. In this sentence, Lear is a subject, washes is a verb, and dishes is an object or the receiver in the sentence. The subject Leanne is the one doing the action washes, while the object dishes receives the action. Now I hope active voice is clear to you all. Now let's understand passive voice. In passive voice, the subject is the receiver of the action. The doer is found at the end of the sentence. We simply follow this pattern in passive voice, that is subject who becomes receiver. Then we add be according to the tense. Then the past participle form of the verb, that is third form of the verb. After that we add by. Then we add doer of the action, that is object, which is the doer. While converting the sentences into passive voice, we should remember this pattern. Once again I am repeating it. Here subject is the receiver. Then we add be. Then third form of the verb, that is past participle form of the verb. Then we add by, and in the end doer of the action. Now changing the active voice into passive voice, or we can say convert active voice to passive voice. We should remember 5 steps while changing the active voice sentences into the passive voice sentence. First one is to identify that which is the subject, object and verb in the sentence. Second step is that we should swap subject into object and object into subject. Third step is convert verb. The verb which is given in active voice sentence changes into past participle form of the verb, that is third form of the verb. In passive voice sentence, we add helping verb before main verb in the sentence. Step is that before writing subject, which becomes object in the passive voice, we add preposition by before it. So these are the 5 steps we need to remember for changing the active voice sentences into the passive voice sentence. By following these 5 steps, we will get this pattern. First we write object which is present in active voice sentence. It comes first in passive voice, then helping verb according to the tense. After helping verb, we will add main verb and its past participle form of the verb. After that verb, we will add by. Then we write subject which is in active voice. Here it comes in the end of the sentence. If the subject or object in the sentence in the active voice is a pronoun, it changes its form as shown here. While changing subject which is a pronoun to object, it becomes I become me. He become him. She changes into her. We changes into us. They changes into them. You remains you. It remains it. So we should remember these pronouns while changing into passive voice. Now look at this table. It shows the changes in tense while changing sentences in the active voice into the passive voice. We add a proper helping verb of to be before main verb. So here I am taking one of the verb, that is write, and explaining this table by using that verb. So if the sentence is in simple present, in active voice we use write or writes according to the subject. Then in passive voice it changes into with the helping verb is, are, am, and with the third form of the verb written. In present continuous tense, active voice sentence is in that we use is, are, am, and ing with the verb writing. And in passive it changes into we use is, are, am as it is, but we add being in continuous tense, and after that third form of the verb written. If the sentence is given in present perfect tense, active voice it will be have written, and when it changes into passive voice it becomes have been written. For simple past tense sentences, in active voice it will be written as wrote, and in passive voice it changes into was, were written. In past continuous tense we write was or were writing, and in passive voice it becomes was, were being written. In past perfect tense we write in active voice had written, in passive voice it will changes into had been written. In simple future tense, in active voice we will write will write, and in passive voice it changes into will be written. In future perfect we will write in active voice will have written, and it will changes into will have been written. One more thing you need to remember, that is if the verb in the sentence in the active voice has a modal in it, the verb changes into the passive voice as the modal. With modal we add be and then the third form of the verb. For example, we should obey the rules of the school. So when we change it into passive voice, it becomes the rules of the school should be obeyed. Let's understand it with one of the example. The principal suspended my friends. This sentence is in active voice. Let's try to change it into passive voice. It becomes, first we need to understand the first step, that is we should identify the subject, object and the verb in this sentence. In this sentence, the principal is the subject, suspended is the verb, and my friends is an object in this sentence. So according to the rule, we will swap the subject into the object and the object into the subject. So we write my friends, then according to the tense we add were because it is in past tense, and friends is a plural, that's why we are using were. Then third form of the verb, that is suspended, then we add by. After writing by, the subject become object here, the principal. So we get this new sentence into the passive form, that is my friends were suspended by the principal. So here the object becomes subject and the subject become object. The subject my friends is the receiver of the action now, and while the principal is the doer of the action, suspended. Let's see one more example. Mandy gave me this book. First we should identify the subject, object and the verb in the sentence. Mandy is the subject in this sentence, then verb is gave, and book is the object in this sentence. So according to the rule, we swipe subject into object and object into subject. So this book comes first, and because this sentence is in past form, so we use was, helping verb, then third form of the verb given. After that we add by, and our subject become object here. Mandy comes in the end. This book was given by Mandy. In this sentence, the book is the receiver of the action given, but at the same time it is also the subject. Mandy, who is the doer of the action, is now found at the end of the sentence. Here we have some more examples. My sister borrowed my car. This sentence is in active voice. Let's change it into passive voice. My car was borrowed by my sister. Next example is, that kid stole Mrs. Luther's wallet. In this sentence, that kid is subject, stole is verb. Mrs. Luther's wallet is an object. So first object comes first in the passive voice, that Mrs. Luther's wallet. This sentence is in past form, so we are using helping verb was. Third form of the verb stole is stolen. Then we add by, and that kid is the subject in the active voice. It comes in the end in the passive voice, that kid. So we get our passive voice sentence, that is Mrs. Luther's wallet was stolen by that kid. Some of the functions and the rules of changing active voice sentences into passive voice sentences are given in your English grammar textbook also in detail, so you can read it thoroughly and understand it properly. That's all about active and passive voice. I hope it is clear to you all, each and every function and rule. If then also you have any query related to this topic, feel free to ask. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.